the Tapo C420S requires the use of a hub. So as you might imagine, there actually is app controls for the hub. Right there you can see a bell icon. If I select that, well, guess what? It is now ringing the hub. So if you have the hub located somewhere where you want to get somebody's attention, that's how you can do it. If I tap on the icon, that's going to bring me into the hub itself. Notice it has a location right there. Again, select the ring icon right there. That is going to ring the hub. I can select underneath that doorbell ring. Well, here we go. Custom sounds, you've got lots that you can choose from, and then how loud you would like that to be. Then you have siren duration, so 5 seconds to 10 minutes, or customize how long you'd like that to be. All of that is done just by clicking that. Explore smart actions. So this will allow you to set up, hey, if this does something, tell this to do it. So right here you can see, if detects motion, set an alarm off. If door opens, set an alarm off. So that's one of the good things about the hub itself. It's not just meant to be a place to store your videos, it integrates into the Tapo smart devices universe. If I select this, it will show me my paired devices. I could select add, and it will allow me to add other devices. Here it lists out everything. I only have the cameras, so I'm not going to be adding anything else. That is everything that we can do for the controls. But up in the upper right hand corner we have a sprocket. We select that. Now we get into the settings. Right up here, if I select this, it will allow me to change the device icon. Moving down, we would select this to change the device's name. Other information is in there, such as MAC address and firmware. I'm not going to show that. Here we have location. We can select one of the presets or do a custom one. Network connection. Right now it is connected via Ethernet, but once you set it up, you do not have to leave it on Ethernet. You can connect it via Wi-Fi. This is a great feature, especially if you want your hub to be somewhere that is not right next to your Wi-Fi access point. So you could go here and that will allow you to set it up for wireless use, and then you can put it wherever you want as long as you have power. Here we have our sirens. Just another location to access those. We have our LED status light, so we can turn that on or off if you have this in an area that you'd like to keep dark. Device info, another place to see firmware, MAC address, serial number, not going to show you. Here we have our firmware. I can select check for firmware, but notice right here, auto update. If we select this, we can specify a time frame for this to check for updates so that it doesn't disturb the rest of our smart home environment. Or if we're binge watching something on Netflix, we don't have to worry about this downloading a firmware update because we've set it up so that it'll do that off cycle when we're not inconvenienced. Here we have diagnostics. Well, I have that off. If you have that on, it will allow the hub to gather some data and send it to your app so that it can be sent over to Tapo. And right down here, we have auto reboot. Well, sometimes you kind of need to auto reboot devices. I haven't had that experience with any of my Tapo stuff, but if you wanted to set up a schedule for auto rebooting, you come right there, you could set it up. You have the option to reboot right now or remove from your Tapo app. And that is everything that you can do for the Tapo hub. So let's move on to what we can do for the Tapo C420S. Starting on our home page right here, upper left-hand corner, you'll notice I have a toggle for home. If I had multiple homes, I can set which one I wanted to look at right there. Over on the right-hand side, you'll see an envelope with a red dot. Well, that red dot means that there is a notification that I need to look at or address. Here we can see right here, my Tapo C420S has a notification as well as my C325WB. But we're going to tap on our notification right here. And here we could see what was detected and at what time and days. So we could scroll through this and see all the days. Red dot indicates that it is something that you have not yet looked at. Opening it up will bring us to our timeline here. And here it thinks the bird is a person. The detection settings, while not perfect, will give you a general idea. Upper right hand corner here, we have a pencil. We can kind of come in here and say, mark as read or delete just by selecting them. But we're going to come back to our main page here. And right here we can see all of our other Tapo cameras listed on our homepage. Right now I'm going to select my Tapo C420S. You can see right there in the upper right hand corner of that card there actually is a battery indicator letting me know how much life is left because this is a battery operated camera. And notice right here there is a firmware update, so if there is a firmware that you have not yet updated to, it'll give you this splash screen. After an update has been performed, if you need it, you are brought to this. This is the main screen for the camera. Here in the top corner here, we could see auto 2K to HD. I could select that and change it to 720 if I want to force it to always be 720, which is their data saver, but it's still considered HD. Or auto, which will switch between the two depending on bandwidth. Here we have auto for day mode and night mode, meaning it will switch to its night vision depending on time of day and ambient lighting. You can force it to go into night mode, as I'm going to do right now, if you wanted to. And here you can see it turns on the IR lights and puts on the night filter, but recommended that you leave that in auto. We'll give that a moment to change back. Here we have the LEDs. Notice I can turn that on or off. You can't see them right now because it's daylight. I'm going to toggle that off. Next to that, we have a sprocket icon. That is actually the settings or configuration for the camera. We'll talk about that a little later. Right on our screen itself, we do have a % battery, letting us know just how much power this particular camera has left. Now, if we come over here to the grid icon right here, selecting this will allow us to pick other Tapo branded cameras and add them to a grid of live cameras. So right now I have this one here and I'm going to say okay. So now I will see both the C420S and my C325WB in tandem. You could do 4 per page and have up to 8 pages, and I'm going to tap on that. It's going to bring me back to the single camera per view. Notice I'm on 13 of 32, and this is again something that I wish Tapo would correct. Bring me back to the first camera. Don't make me scroll through everything. Now that we are back on our live camera here, right next to the grid icon, we have our snapshot. Doing this will allow me to take a snapshot, a picture of what it's seeing in real time. Selecting the movie camera next to that will actually allow me to take a live video. So I am recording what it is seeing right now, and that is getting saved to my memories location right down there, which we'll discuss a little later. Moving on, we have our audio indicator right there. You can see this is for the camera's microphone. I have it maxed up. The yellow is kind of past what it recommends. So right back there is about what it recommends you should have it set at. I always like kind of bumping it up. Makes it a little more prevalent that I can hear things on the other end. Right here, if we tap on this, this will expand our camera into full screen mode. And then once we are in full screen mode, notice that we still have information accessible to us. Battery percentage, the ability to take a snapshot, do a video recording from here, but now we have the mic and telephone icons on our video itself. We also have the ability to bring up the grid, volume, turn on and off the light, auto quality, auto daylight night, and then auto for the quality, and then we could swipe through if we have multiple cameras, and there you can see I left my one camera as part of the list. Now, if I bring it back like that, it can be adjusted to full screen mode also using the gyroscope within your smartphone itself, so you can use that or just tilt your phone. Coming down to our white area, this is our talk. Selecting talk, if I press and hold, now the people outside will be hearing my voice through the camera. Take your finger off, they're no longer hearing you. On this page, if we select the slider icons, this will allow you to adjust individually specifics for this. So we can adjust the camera's microphone from here and the speaker on the camera itself. Let's say it's coming in a little garbly and we want to adjust that for the people listening on the other side. This is how we can do that. Selecting the down arrow or down caret right there will collapse the menu that we were in, and we can go over to the next one. So here we have our call. Now, right now, in real time, audio is being sent out to the camera. I have to hang up if I want to end this call. I can mute the microphone or I can mute the speaker. Those are going to be on my side to help avoid feedback. Again, selecting those sliders will allow me to adjust specifics for this talk session. Always remember, hang up your talk session when you are done, or else that will remain live. Now, the difference between talk and the call is I have to actuate and hold down the microphone in order for the other party to hear me. Voice call, it stays on until I click that button off. Here we have privacy mode. This is a great feature that Tapo offers at no extra charge. You notice right here, video feed is turned off. It will not record anything. It will not sense motion. It will not send you any information. If I swipe over to my other camera right here, that one's still on. C420S can't do anything. I select exit privacy mode, and that will turn the live feed on for the camera, meaning I can visually look through it now and it will start recording again. Here we have our alarm. Selecting that right now outside, people are hating me because there's an alarm going off. That is how you would toggle that. In sequence, we have our Tapo Care. This is the Tapo extras that you can get for your camera. So right here you can see you have unlimited cloud storage for 30 days, exclusive AI detection, rich notifications, which we're going to talk about a little later because the notifications that you get will be purely text-based unless you get this, which will then allow you to have a snapshot of what was seen. And then Smart Sort allow you to kind of classify things in your recordings a little easier. Here we have the monthly prices if you're interested, and if you do yearly, you save a little bit. Tapo subscription is not necessary to use this camera, but it is there and prevalent on several screens, so I wanted to point that out to you so you knew what it was. And there we go. That is an example of a non-rich notification, purely text-based. Now we move on to Playback and Memories, and this is an area that I feel Tapo could improve. Not this area right here. This is great. Notice I have a bunch of hits right here. Person, person, person. Not all of them are a person. Here, this is a person. This is me walking through my backyard. We'll pause that, and then if we wanted to, we can adjust tapping there to select on a camera. If I scrub in, and this is a little tricky to do around a camera, but if I scrub in on my timeline, you can see green line. That indicates, hey, hey, I caught something. In this case, it was a person. If it was motion, it would be orange. I like this feature. Remember, this particular camera is a battery based, so it does hibernate itself and use a PIR sensor, so it needs motion and heat in order for it to trigger. That's how you get the longer life out of the battery. So that's why you're not seeing continuous recording on this timeline. Now, this is where Tapo starts getting a little weird, and I wish they would do better. Just like on the live feed, I can take a snapshot of what I have here. But in order to download any one of these things here, that is me. So here, we'll go to the bird. If I wanted to download this bird to show to somebody, I have to select the record button and record the clip from here. Oh, it flew off. Okay, I select I'm done. That now saves to the My Memories area, which is over here. This was just playback, and it's from the My Memories area that I can actually download one of these clips. Notice there's no way that I could press and hold to do anything. It will only start playing it. I can't download it from here. However, I can, if I select there, filter for specific types, which is nice. So if you've got a lot of clips, you had motion and person turned on, but you just wanted person, you could filter it up there. Just like we had on the live feed, we can toggle the microphone and make this big screen. Now, coming over to our memories. These memories didn't exist before, except when I was doing the demonstration for you. I took 2 snapshots. I took 2 videos. If I select my video, well, now I have the ability to share it, favorite it, download it, delete it. I really wish Tapo would change this portion of the app because it makes getting those clips much more tedious, especially since we have them saved on an SD card. It's not in the cloud. Make it easier for me to be able to get to them. That's all I'm asking. But that is everything that we have for our camera controls. Now we move up to camera configuration. So selecting the sprocket there allows us to now start making modifications to this camera. Selecting this icon up here will allow you to change the name, and we'll show you the MAC address and firmware information for the camera. Coming down, location, you've got a couple of presets, but I can select custom and then type in my own. Coming back, we have our time zone, another location for the Tapo Care free trial right there. You can see 30 days, you get that standard with any Tapo camera. Here we have our battery status. Right there, it's showing 80%. Use days, it's showing you, hey, less than a day. Total detected events, in my case 111. And then show on live view, meaning that battery icon. I strongly recommend having that because it'll help you kind of figure out maybe I shouldn't be staring through this as much as I am because I'm using up a lot of battery. We have power saver mode. So right now it's always off. You have auto and always on. What power saver mode does is automatically change some of the settings to minimize power consumption. So for me, having always off, I want maximum amount of detection for the camera rather than preserving the battery life. And for me, that's worked fairly well. Here we have invert image. Turning this on or off will swap the video to be upside down if you're mounting this upside down. LED status light is a nice feature to have, especially if you have this mounted where there's people, and the LED status light will let people know if the camera is actually being looked at. Privacy zones is a great feature that Tapo has. If I select this, here I could see my backyard. Well, let's say there's a specific area in my backyard, like these houses here, and I have this little adjustable box, and I'm gonna throw that right there, and I put check mark. Now, that particular area, whether it's in the live feed or in my recordings, will be blacked out. I can't see it, the camera can't see it. If I come back here, we can add multiple privacy zones. So we can have quite the number of them, as you can see, 4 to be exact. Night mode settings, selecting this, well, here we go. We've got black and white mode, meaning it's going to use the IR lights instead of the LEDs. If we select color, that's going to use the LEDs. That will give us a bit of a color night vision. Or we have smart mode. So it will automatically switch from black and white to color when an event is detected based on power consumption, blah, blah, blah. So instead of seeing black and white, if it detects a person, it will change over to color. So we're going to leave it on that option for now. And come down. Spotlight brightness, kind of a running tally here as to how bright it is. This will not be as helpful as I'm doing this in the daytime, but if you wanted to see how bright it was, you could toggle that and go boop, 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 but I'm just gonna max that out and leave it as is, and we're gonna come back. Detections and alerts, well, right here, I have motion turned off, but if I turn that on, any motion that happens within the frame of this will send me a notification and trigger an event. Right here you see this orange haze. Well, this is actually a detection box. So if I only cared about this small portion right there for the detection of all motion, I can kind of set that. I could also have several zones, again, 4 to be exact, and say I only want this side, and the blank space in the middle. I can do that. I'm going to save, and we're gonna come back and turn off motion because I want AI detection. I want to be notified if it detects a person. So you can toggle that on and off, and then slider scale for sensitivity. Same thing with pet. on or off, sensitivity scale, and then vehicle on or off, and sensitivity scale. Since this is in my backyard, I do not have any cars that are going to be driving through my backyard, but that's all under our AI detection. I'm greatly appreciative that that is actually a free feature in the Tapo lineup. Here we have the wake sensitivity. So notice this is how far out it will project in order to wake up the camera. You can see it's showing you right there how close something has to be before that PIR sensor activates. And then the further out it goes, obviously the more battery it will consume because more things are more likely to set it off. Here we have activity notification. I do have that turned on. If you want rich notification, if I try and toggle that, it's going to bring me to the Tapo Care. We're going to go back. So send me a notification all the time, during the daytime, during the nighttime, or custom range. This is a nice feature to have so you can kind of customize when you want to be notified if something's happening. In my case, I want it all the time. And then here we have camera alarm. If I toggle the alarm, turn it on, I could select alarm type. So do I want sound, light, or do I want both? Ideally you want both. Really freaks somebody out. Alarm sound, selecting this, well, you've got siren or tone, as well as a volume level, low to high. Just like before, you can schedule all the time, during the night only, during the day only, during the night only, and then a custom time. Selecting customize will let you see right here. If I select this, I could pick days and I could pick time. We're gonna come back. That was all under our detection settings. Now we're gonna come to our micro SD card. Right here, the micro SD card is set for loop. This device is actually talking to the hub, which you saw already. Loop recording means the oldest recording, as I run out of space, will get overridden. I can clear all recordings and I can format right from here. Either one of those will remove everything from the SD card, so do not use that unless you really want to. Here we have clip settings. Coming in here, how short amount of time do you want before the next event triggers? So right here, by default, it's 5 seconds. I can go 0, keep going, and it will slide all the way up to 60 seconds in between each clip. So we're gonna put that back to what it was default, and then record buffer. When motion is no longer detected, how long will the camera keep recording? So in this case, default is 6 seconds. You have a maximum of 10 seconds, and then 3 seconds. We're gonna put this back to about 8 seconds because that's kind of what I like. Here we have maximum clip length. Selecting this, you can see it's in seconds, so you have no choice there, but you can go all the way up to 120 seconds. And for me, I am going to drop this to 60, so we'll say it's about a minute, and then select back. Next, we come down to video quality. Selecting this, as you saw before, we have the ability for 2K HD or 720p data saving. 720 is still considered HD, so just know that. Or you can leave it on auto and it will dynamically switch between the two based on connection level, data speeds, things of that nature. Moving on, we have advanced settings. Coming into advanced settings, well, here's another place where we can access privacy mode. We have our record audio. Some areas will not allow you to record audio with your video. This is how you can toggle that on and off depending on where you live. Power line frequency, you have a choice between 50 Hertz and 60 Hertz. If you don't know what that is, don't go in there and play with that. Leave it on its default. But if you do, that's where you can find it. Here we have our frame rate. What frame rate do you want for this camera? Higher frame rate reduces battery life. By default, it is set for 15, which is generally what you're going to get with outdoor battery cameras, but you can set it for 20 frames per second if you'd like. Voice call mode, you have standard and compatibility mode. Compatibility mode will kind of dynamically lower some of your settings so that it maintains a stable connection when you're doing a video call. Here we have display settings. Right here we have hardware acceleration, which improves performance. Compatibility mode optimizes things to kind of give you better battery life. On-screen displays right here, well, you've got your timestamp, and then right there is your timestamp settings. You have display text. Well, this is something I really like because if you wanted to have as part of the video file itself, specific text saying, hey, this was the garage or this is the front studio, you can have that display text right on your video itself. And then you've got the Tapo logo, and those were our on-screen settings. We're coming back. Here we have auto privacy mode, enable privacy mode when charging. So turning that on is a great feature because if you have to bring the camera in to charge and you're not using the battery pass-through, this means that while it's charging in your home, cameras will turn themselves off. That is a great feature that I think more cameras really should have. Connected hub, well, this is going to show you signal strength, the hub type, and how it's connected or how the hub is connected. Now we have our user manual. Not going to go through that, self-explanatory. Mounting guide will show you how to mount this but that's done during setup. Share device will allow you to share this individual device with another user. They will need to have their own Tapo account in order to be able to access it through the Tapo application. And here we have our feedback that will allow you to send feedback to Tapo about any problems you might be having or good things that you've experienced with your camera. The last option on this page is remove the camera. If I wish to remove the camera from my Tapo application, that is how I would do that. And that has been everything that we can do for the C420S. If we come back, quickly run through the overall Tapo application. Home is going to list out all of your smart devices, and in this case it's mostly cameras for me. Cameras will segregate out only the cameras, and you can see I have quite a few, showing you an easy access point for all of them. Also a quick way to turn them into home mode or away mode. Next we have vacuum cleaner. Well, if I had any vacuums, they would show up on this page. Think of the home page as your favorite. You can kind of have as many things as you want on here of differing types, but these will allow you to break them down into their individual components. And always in the upper right hand corner is plus sign so that you know you can add something right from there. Next we have actions and routines. Here's our go to bed. It will allow you to set up a routine for when you go to bed. You tap it, it turns things off. Shortcuts, well, if you want to add a shortcut to something, this is where you can do it. And then we have automations. You want to set up an automation like XY triggers this to do this. This is the location for that. And then me is going to have your account information and also a singular place where you can update all the firmware for all the cameras in one single location. But that has been everything that you could do for the Tapo C420S using the Tapo app.